Some of the most collectible coins in America don't stand out at first glance. Too small Mercury Dime has become a favorite among collectors for reasons that aren't immediately obvious. As this story unfolds, you'll discover the hidden details that determine its rarity, what experts look for during authentication, and why certain certified examples have attracted extraordinary collector interest. First coin. The 1925 Mercury Dime has spent more than a century quietly passing through American history, yet a surprising number of collectors still underestimate how much one small silver coin can reveal. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary 10-cent piece, but closer examination uncovers details that separate common survivors from genuinely desirable collectibles. Tiny differences in preservation, strike quality, mint location, and originality can dramatically influence collector demand. Over the course of its long life, this dime has traveled through the hands of everyday Americans, survived economic upheaval, and eventually found its way into collections around the world. By the end of this story, you'll see why authenticated examples have realized impressive prices at auction, why only certain pieces command substantial premiums, and how experts determine whether a 1925 Mercury Dime deserves special attention. Officially known as the Winged Liberty Head Dime, the coin debuted in 1916 during a period when the United States sought more artistic circulating coinage. Sculptor Adolph A. Weinman created a design that quickly became one of the most admired in American numismatic history. Although generations of Americans nicknamed it the Mercury Dime because Liberty's winged cap resembled the Roman messenger god Mercury, the portrait actually represents Liberty wearing a winged Phrygian cap, symbolizing freedom of thought. The 1925 issue was produced during the prosperous years of the Roaring Twenties, when the nation was experiencing industrial growth, expanding automobile ownership, and a booming stock market. Every dime struck that year carried 90% silver and 10% copper, weighed approximately 2.5 grams, measured 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and featured a reeded edge. These specifications remained consistent throughout the classic Mercury Dime series and continue to help experts authenticate genuine examples today. The obverse showcases Weinman's remarkable artistry, with Liberty facing left and her hair flowing naturally beneath the distinctive winged cap. Around the portrait appears the word Liberty, while the motto "In God We Trust" rests beside the neck and the date 1925 anchors the lower portion of the design. On the reverse, a fasces, a bundle of rods bound around an axe, symbolizes national strength and unity, while an olive branch represents America's desire for peace. Together, these elements reflected both preparedness and hope. During the years following World War I, 3 mints participated in producing Mercury Dimes in 1925. Philadelphia struck coins without a mint mark, while Denver placed a small D and San Francisco added an S on the reverse near the base of the fasces. Philadelphia produced the largest mintage, making it the most frequently encountered issue, whereas the branch mint coins, particularly from San Francisco, generally attract greater attention because fewer were struck and high-grade survivors are considerably scarcer. Condition is where the story becomes truly fascinating. Millions of 1925 dimes entered circulation immediately, performing exactly as intended by facilitating everyday commerce. They paid for streetcar rides, newspapers, lunches, and countless other purchases before gradually disappearing through decades of wear. Because silver coins circulated extensively, most surviving examples exhibit flattened hair details, softened facial features, and reduced definition in the horizontal bands across the fasces. Collectors evaluate these characteristics using the Sheldon grading scale, ranging from heavily worn good examples through fine, very fine, extremely fine, about uncirculated, and finally mint state grades beginning at MS-60 and extending to MS-70. One additional designation can significantly increase collector interest: full bands. This label is awarded only when the horizontal bands binding the fasces remain fully separated and sharply struck. Full bands examples are much more difficult to locate because they require exceptional striking quality as well as minimal wear, making them especially desirable to advanced Mercury Dime specialists. Values vary enormously depending on authentication, originality, grade, and mint mark. A circulated Philadelphia 1925 Mercury Dime may be valued primarily for its collectible silver content and modest numismatic premium, but an attractive certified mint state example can move into a completely different price category. Coins graded around MS-65 often trade in the neighborhood of approximately $1,200 to $2,000 when eye appeal and luster are particularly strong, while premium full-band specimens can command even greater attention among registry set collectors. The Denver and San Francisco issues present additional challenges because locating sharply struck, lightly preserved coins becomes increasingly difficult as grades climb. Some certified examples from these branch mints have exceeded $3,000 when exceptional surfaces, brilliant original luster, and outstanding strike quality align with strong collector demand. These figures fluctuate with the market, and no value should ever be assumed without professional examination and current pricing references. Beyond standard issues, specialists also search carefully for legitimate mint errors and die varieties. Although no famous major variety defines the 1925 Mercury Dime in the same way as certain other classic U.S. coins, authenticated off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and dramatic die cracks occasionally appear and can carry meaningful premiums depending on their severity and visual appeal. Genuine mint-made errors are distinctly different from post-mint damage, such as scratches, filing, polishing, or environmental corrosion. Counterfeit examples have also entered the marketplace, particularly as silver prices and collector demand have increased over the decades. Experts rely on precise weight, diameter, edge characteristics, metal composition, strike diagnostics, and microscopic examination of the design to distinguish authentic coins from deceptive copies. For valuable candidates, certification through respected third-party grading services provides buyers and sellers with greater confidence by confirming authenticity, assigning an objective grade, and encapsulating the coin in a tamper-evident holder. Preservation plays a crucial role in protecting both beauty and value. Many older collections suffered permanent damage because owners cleaned their silver coins in an attempt to make them appear brighter. Unfortunately, abrasive cleaning leaves fine hairline scratches that experienced graders immediately recognize, often resulting in a details grade rather than a standard numerical grade. Original surfaces with natural tunning are generally preferred by collectors because they reflect decades of undisturbed preservation. Proper storage means handling coins only by their edges, avoiding fingerprints, and keeping them in inert archival holders away from excessive humidity, rapid temperature changes, and airborne contaminants. Coins stored carefully for generations often retain attractive mint luster and colorful peripheral tunning that can enhance desirability. Before making any decisions about selling or insuring an apparently exceptional 1925 Mercury Dime, professional grading and authentication remain the safest course, particularly if the coin appears unusually well preserved or exhibits characteristics associated with premium strike quality. Today, the 1925 Mercury Dime remains one of the most admired classic American silver coins because it combines artistic excellence, historical significance, and genuine collecting challenges. Demand continues to be supported by collectors assembling complete Mercury Dime sets, investors who appreciate classic U.S. silver coinage, and numismatists seeking top-certified examples for competitive registry collections. Ordinary circulated pieces are historically interesting and widely collected, but extraordinary prices are reserved only for authenticated coins with exceptional preservation, rare characteristics, or superior strike quality. In the most competitive auction environments, elite certified examples have realized prices well above the levels seen for typical collector coins, demonstrating just how much rarity and condition can influence the market. More than 100 years after it first entered circulation, the 1925 Mercury Dime continues to prove that a seemingly ordinary 10-cent coin can become an extraordinary artifact when history, artistry, preservation, and collector demand come together in a single remarkable piece. Next coin. A century after it first entered circulation, the 1917 Mercury Dime continues to surprise collectors who assume every old silver coin tells the same story. It is a coin that rewards patience, careful observation, and historical knowledge far more than simple age. Two examples struck in the same year can appear nearly identical to an untrained eye while representing dramatically different levels of rarity and collector demand. Tiny differences in preservation, strike quality, mint location, and originality can transform an ordinary survivor into a remarkable collectible. That enduring mystery is one reason this issue remains a favorite among numismatists. As the story unfolds, the reasons behind its desirability become clear. Along with the characteristics experts evaluate, the role authentication plays in determining significance, and how exceptional certified examples have earned remarkable recognition in the marketplace, without suggesting that every 1917 Mercury Dime shares the same fate. The Mercury Dime itself was still a relatively new design in 1917, having replaced the Barber dime only a year earlier as part of America's broader movement toward more artistic circulating coinage. Designed by renowned sculptor Adolph A. Weinman, the coin reflects a nation eager to express both beauty and democratic ideals through everyday money. Although generations of Americans came to know it as the Mercury Dime, the portrait is not the Roman messenger god at all. Instead, it depicts liberty wearing a winged Phrygian cap, symbolizing freedom of thought. The reverse combines a fasces, representing unity and national strength, with an olive branch that emphasizes peace. Those symbols took on even greater significance in 1917, the year the United States entered the First World War. While factories expanded production, military mobilization accelerated, and the economy shifted toward supporting the war effort, millions of these dimes quietly entered commerce, becoming part of daily transactions during one of the most consequential years in American history. Every genuine 1917 Mercury Dime shares the same physical specifications regardless of where it was struck. Each coin was produced from an alloy of 90% silver and 10% copper, weighed approximately 2.5 grams, measured 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and featured a reeded edge that discouraged clipping of precious metal. The coins were manufactured at 3 United States mint facilities. Philadelphia struck pieces without a mint mark, Denver placed a small D on the reverse near the lower left of the fasces, and San Francisco added an S in the same location. Philadelphia produced the largest mintage by a considerable margin, while Denver and San Francisco issued substantially fewer coins, making branch mint examples especially appealing to collectors pursuing complete date-and mint sets. Although all three circulated extensively, differences in production quality and survival rates have given each issue its own distinct reputation within the Mercury Dime series. As decades passed, circulation became the greatest enemy of quality. Most 1917 Mercury Dimes fulfilled their intended purpose, changing hands thousands of times before eventually disappearing through wear, melting, or loss. That history explains why sharply preserved examples are much scarcer than total mintages might suggest. Professional grading services evaluate surviving coins using the Sheldon scale, beginning with heavily worn grades and extending through mint state designations from MS-60 to the virtually flawless MS-70. Beyond the numerical grade, specialists pay extraordinary attention to strike quality. On Mercury Dimes, the horizontal bands securing the fasces are especially important. Coins displaying fully separated bands receive the coveted full bands designation, indicating exceptional striking detail rather than additional wear resistance. Because many 1917 dimes were not struck with perfect sharpness, genuine full bands examples remain highly desirable and often command substantially stronger prices than similarly graded coins lacking that designation. Among specialists, one of the most discussed varieties from this year is the 1917 Philadelphia double die obverse. Genuine examples display noticeable doubling on portions of the obverse lettering and date, making them one of the recognized collectible varieties within the series. Like all major die varieties, authenticity is critical because mechanical doubling and damaged dies can sometimes confuse inexperienced collectors. Aside from this variety, collectors also search for legitimate mint-produced errors such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, or dramatic die cracks, although these are far less common than ordinary circulated coins. Any unusual feature should be examined carefully before assumptions are made, since scratches, corrosion, polishing, and post-mint damage often imitate mint errors. Reliable attribution by experienced numismatists or respected third-party grading services remains the safest approach whenever a potentially valuable variety or error is discovered. Once authentication and grading enter the conversation, market values begin to separate dramatically. A circulated 1917 Mercury Dime with ordinary wear may carry only a modest numismatic premium beyond its silver content, while attractive mint state examples become increasingly competitive among collectors. Certified coins around the gem mint state level, with strong eye appeal and original surfaces, may trade in the vicinity of approximately $1,150 to $1,850, depending on the specific issue, certification, and current demand. Examples displaying exceptional luster together with the desirable full bands designation can move into a higher category, sometimes reaching roughly $2,700 to $3,900 when collector competition is particularly strong. These figures should never be viewed as guarantees because values depend on professional authentication, grade, originality, rarity, and prevailing market conditions. The famous double die obverse variety, when properly authenticated and preserved in high grade, can attract significant additional interest from variety specialists beyond that of a standard 1917 Philadelphia issue. Exceptional auction performances demonstrate just how influential condition and rarity can become. The highest prices associated with the 1917 Mercury Dime series have not been achieved by ordinary circulated pieces, but by certified coins possessing extraordinary preservation, elite strike quality, or important recognized varieties. Registry set collectors frequently compete for top population examples because only a limited number survive with outstanding luster, virtually flawless surfaces, and complete design details. Auction records should always be interpreted carefully, however, since they reflect individual coins rather than every specimen bearing the same date. A single certified coin with remarkable eye appeal may outperform another technically similar example because of superior tunning, stronger visual balance, or a more desirable pedigree. That competitive environment explains why population reports, grading consistency, and provenance receive so much attention among advanced collectors evaluating important Mercury dimes. The lasting appeal of the 1917 Mercury dime extends well beyond its silver content or its age. It represents an intersection of artistic achievement, wartime history, and disciplined craftsmanship that continues to captivate collectors more than a century after its release. Preserving one properly means avoiding abrasive cleaning, handling it only by the edges, and storing it in inert holders away from moisture, contaminants, and extreme temperature changes. Original surfaces are almost always preferred over artificially brightened ones, and even subtle cleaning can reduce collector confidence. Counterfeit examples do exist, particularly for higher value certified candidates, making verification of weight, dimensions, metal composition, and design diagnostics essential before any significant purchase. When authenticity, originality, and superior preservation come together in a genuine 1917 Mercury dime, the result is more than an old 10-cent coin. It becomes a tangible witness to an era when America entered a global conflict, when remarkable artistry transformed everyday currency, and when history was quietly carried in the pockets of millions before eventually finding a permanent place in the collections of those determined to preserve it.